on, dear. We did say on our last video that we would update you and let you know how we got on at the bank, opening a Portuguese bank account. I phoned the bank in the morning and asked if there was anybody there who spoke English, or did the girl who answered the phone speak English. She said no, one moment, and then she brought on a guy called Bruno. His English was not too bad, a lot better than my Portuguese, obviously, and he said we could either go down that day and speak to him, or we could wait until the Thursday, this was on the Tuesday, and speak to his colleague Claudia, who he said spoke much better English than what he did. We chose to go down that day because time was getting on and we was leaving on the Friday, and we wanted to know that we'd got this bank set up before we actually went home to England. So we went straight down to the bank, and it was quite early morning, about 10ish. There was nobody about, so managed to get straight in and speak to Bruno. I'm saying that because when we went back in the afternoon with some more paperwork, it was busy by then, and there was a lot of people waiting outside in a queue to get in, so mornings are probably better. It was a lovely chap, was Bruno, and he was very helpful. There was quite a lot of paperwork to fill in, which surprised me. I'd been asked to take down the passports and proof of address. Steve was waiting outside with the dogs. Unlike the UK, they did allow me to set everything up and then him go in and sign while I waited with the dogs, which was great. So the passports were fine. Unfortunately, the deeds that I'd taken to the house to prove that we owned a property in Portugal were not enough. They needed something, a utility bill within the last 3 months, either an electric bill or even a mobile telephone bill, which we didn't have. We've not, as you know, yet set up the electric, so things got a bit awkward at that stage. They did say to me, if you go around to the financier in Fundão, which that's where the bank was, they can give you proof that you do own the property. So we went round to the financier, and they did give us proof. It was straight away, we didn't have to pay anything, and we took the documents back to the bank, one each. And that was that. So we managed to get the account set up. It did take a while. It was a good hour, or set up enough that for when Claudia came in on the Thursday, she was going to finish getting everything active. I think there's a couple of days where it goes through the system and it's not actually active, and then you've got to go back and activate it, was my understanding. So off we went, and we went back on the Thursday when Claudia was in. Her English was absolutely brilliant, and she was very helpful. However, the letter that we got from the financier wasn't enough, because it was dated from when we bought the property, and as you know, you need things within the last 3 months. So she said if we go to our local freguesia in our village, local where we live or where we own the property, they will give us proof. Fortunately, they were open that night. They were only open twice a week, and we went up and we got it. It was only €4 for the two of us, a declaration document. We were going to take them back the next day before we set off home. However, it was absolutely pouring it down, and we didn't have raincoats, and we just didn't have any sensible footwear. That was our mistake. And when I say it was pouring it down, I mean it was pouring it down. So we chose to do the other option which Claudia had given us, which was to email her the documents. So we set off home, got the dogs sorted at the vets, and set off home. When we got home, unfortunately, I couldn't read the email address she'd given me. So, but that's another story. So eventually we did manage to get in touch with the banking fund out, send the right documentation, and then once it was all finalised and set up, Claudia did phone me to help me to activate it on my phone. She'd already given me some apps to download. Thank you, Steve. And I'd done that on the day that I was in the bank with her. So she taught me through it over the phone while we was in the UK of how to set up our PIN and everything. So we now have a working bank account. We don't have the cards yet because with us not being in Portugal at the moment, and we've come home for a couple of months, we're due to go back next week. I didn't want the cards arriving when we weren't there. So we do need to go back into the bank when we arrive back in Portugal and get her to send us the cards out while we're there. But anyway, we've got a bank account that we can pay money into and pay money out of, so I'm quite happy with that. As I say, there was one or two problems, but we got there in the end. They were very helpful and very kind, even though it was our bad that we're pretty poor at Portuguese at the moment, but we are learning, and we are doing some classes online. But yeah, so that was our trip to the bank.
So this is the first look in our loft, attic, whatever you want to call it. Mainly come up to have a look at the beams, things, make sure there's not a load of woodworm or beetle or whatever. I know I'm moving about a lot, and sorry for the camera work, but it's a bit low and I'm trying to use a torch as well. I think because of the smoking and what have you, we've got the sort of dark coloured wood, but I think it's stopped woodworm and what have you, because I can't see any sign of any at all, which surprises me. They do this in China or Japan or somewhere, I've forgotten what they call it, but the Indigo Escape did a thing on the outside, what they were building, like a veranda where they were doing the charred wood, and I think, you know, the smoke and what have you certainly helped in here. Just noticed a bit there what I'm not very happy with, so I'm just going to film that, and I think it's only one side and a bit in there, but I haven't seen a lot come out when I've knocked it. So that's along that beam there. I'm just going to follow that down, trying to avoid as many of the big cobwebs as possible. You can see it's pretty grotty up here. Whoops. My camera work isn't very good, I must say, with the torch. I have tried it with the light from the torch, but it doesn't seem to be making it a lot easier. I'll put that on, it might just help a bit. So I've got two on. But so far I'm pretty impressed. We seem to have a patch here what's letting light, oh, no wonder it's letting light in. It's actually a glass panel, so that will let some light in, obviously. Going further down towards the other house, and have a look at the ends of those. Oop. All If you excuse me, there's a lot of cobwebs and it's like being in a haunted house. Oh, that looks okay to me. Sorry, turning the camera the wrong way up. But, yeah. Now then, so on the other old house, the end of the beams look a bit grotty. But you got to remember, these walls are probably half a metre, maybe a bit more thick. That one especially is beginning to look a bit rough. That's okay because that's fairly new, or new as things go. The woodwork itself, the beams from the wall to the roof spars all look pretty reasonable. I'm quite impressed with that actually. I know when we go and have a look at these spars what are in the other house, you'll see a massive difference in size, because they are absolutely massive, especially, well, the centre one certainly is. Yeah, I know I'm going a bit fast. It's like trying to avoid the cobwebs and do some of the film and move about when I'm sort of half on my hands and knees, and well, not on my hands and knees until I get near the edges, but it's just a bit awkward to film. So as I step, I stumble on some of this stuff what's on the floor. There's like, I would say they've been drying onions or something of that nature. Looks like onions to me, somebody else might know better. There's bits of rubble, there's bits of cardboard and all sorts of muck. There's certainly some cleaning out up here to be done as well. There's what looks like a wasp's nest there is gone. And this is the bit where it goes through to the ground floor kitchen area where they've obviously smoked. As I say, it's probably stopped quite a lot of woodworm and stuff like that because it's been smoked. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased to say that I haven't actually seen anything apart from probably a little bit on that beam. I'll have a better look at the pictures when I get down. But all in all, I think the smoking over the years has sort of coated it, and anything that wanted a taste has gone, don't want to eat that. So I'm going to have to play a bit when I do this, edit this video. So yeah, that's this room anyway. So, oop. So we'll stop that. So this is the smaller house. The roof looks better on this as it's been, some of it's been repaired, but I think that's more what it is, repaired rather than done totally properly. But look at the size of that beam, just to give you an idea. What I shouldn't be doing. So, just to give you an idea of how big the beam is. Oh, Christ. I don't know whether you can see my hand on there. We seem to have gone very bright on the picture. I don't know why. But it's very, very big. Don't know whether we can do anything with that. Yeah, that looks better. Does it? No. So you can see the sort of size of the beam, but there's all sorts of junk up here as well. These look like a bit of a generator, bottles, tyres. Some of the bricks what I want for the other house to fill the thing in. I don't know what they're called, but they're the type of things what has that T-edge to fit in the edge to fit in the T beams. Very messy up here. cardboard boxes, usual cobwebs. But it looks like where the beams have needed repairing, they've been done. Because that one looks pretty pants there, or did do, but it's had a new piece put in. There's one there what's been renewed further back. I'm just going to move around a bit, see if I can get anywhere closer to it. A lot of the stuff what's been done while I've been in here has been left, obviously. They don't tend to take stuff away, whereas you can see the, maybe too much light with that, but you can see the beams aren't too bad. Same with them, you know, they're good size posts. And same that way. And they do looking pretty good, Nick, I must say. Where they haven't, like there, they haven't removed it, but they have put another one in. I would have preferred myself to have cut that base off. Yeah, you see where watermarks has been down some of it. But on the whole, that's a bloody big beam. Now I know the ends of it at the other side of the house didn't look very good, but from what I can see here, where it goes in is pretty good. Sorry about that. It's all the muck that's on the floor, these bottles, bits and bobs all over. It's, yeah. To be honest, the lofts aren't any better than the bits outside where the ground is. But these walls are really thick, so I would think that beam goes through quite a long way, and they look alright, certainly a good way into them. I think I'd be reasonably happy with them, but you know, I'm no roofer. It's been done, it looks all fairly tight actually. So yeah, I think it's pretty good. There is one or two bits what I'm surprised they didn't do. But, you know, I suppose they've done it at a cost, haven't they? Trying to get some in so when I blow it up bigger I can actually see it a lot clearer. Sorry about the swivelling round. Now you see some of the end of the tin roof there, what goes to the outside barns, and that's going to be our biggest problem, because we're going to need to get that out and get some more tiles in or whatever. I don't know, some of them tiles look like the wrong way around to me, but I don't know. No, probably not. No, it's probably the way they fit. It's me just being dense. You see, I had a tile roofer or anything else like that. So, but yeah, talk about full of junk. You just got to be careful where you're walking. I mean, it's rubble, it's old tiles, it's old bricks, there's 2 tyres. Yeah, what? I mean, to clean this out, it's going to take months. But, you know, we're here for years, so why not? You see when they've packed them, that's when it's been built in the first place, I would think. Because the beam's lean. Oh, don't like that piece or whatever that is, but... So, yeah, they've put them new beams in places, and some of it's quite good, some of it's a bit iffy. On the whole though, it looks pretty solid. Yeah, just trying to get some film, because obviously Debbie don't come up here, so she needs to see as well what it's like. So I'll show the all-round disaster. I mean, of the flooring and what have you, not of the roof. I mean, the thing is, these are concrete floors as well, So as you can see in the hatch there, or where the hatch would be, that's a beam. And then they put these bricks into shape, and then concrete over the bottom, top, and skim the bottom. I'm going to see if I can get one of them blocks, because I don't know what they're called, and I can take a bit of film of it and show somebody. So I'm just going to try and squeeze under there, being careful, because oh, bloody hell, these bottles, bricks, beams, cobwebs, all sorts of yuck. So I could do with that down the stairs. Now to get down, because the ladders aren't very good. They're handmade. I weren't going to say out about that until I got up and hope I can get down. Otherwise it's yeah, a bit of a jump. So right, I'm going to leave that there. As you can probably see, it's not a very nice day in Portugal this morning. Unfortunately we have to leave as well, so that makes it even worse. There's a lot of cloud and what have you over the hills, and it's really throwing it down. We've had a really rainy day today, but I've just packed up to get some water at the top of the village, and when I look down over the mountains further, it looks like there's snow on the top of them. There's certainly a lot of low cloud and mist and what have you over that way, but certainly that way it looks like snow. So some people have had it worse than we did this morning. So I've had some terrible weather this morning while we've been sort of packing up a little bit. We're on our way to the vets now, so they've got to have tapeworm tablet, and we want to get them some passports so we don't have to get British things,
Turn left.
British documents. Where are you going? Oh. Sorry, what are they?
So we don't have to get the health certificates
Oh yeah, so we don't have to continue getting health certificates
every time we come across.
So every time we come across, obviously they're very expensive. So with a European passport, we can just get them stamped and in and out every time.
I've also read up about a sand fly, so we'll ask the vets about that today, because apparently that can be really difficult if the female sand fly bites your dog and she's infected. It can go on for years and years, being a problem, and it can also lie dormant, I believe. So we'll be asking about that today, because there is some medication for that to prevent it, and there's also a sandfly collar. So we'll just take their advice on what they say is the best thing. Fortunately, with the temperature not being too hot at the moment, I don't think the sandfly is active. This is something that obviously our English vet wouldn't have known about. So yeah, we'll leave it there, and we'll catch up with you in a bit and let you know what happened at the vets.